Hello guys and welcome to my new video, and today we're going to be talking about tips, tricks, resources, weak auras, add-ons that can help you in Mythic Plus in terms of healing. So this video is going to be about improving, getting better, and just having a better time in Mythic Plus content as a healer. A lot of these tips and tricks might already be known by you if you're a veteran player, but if you're a new player coming into World of Warcraft for the first time, these resources can be really helpful. So let's go and get started. And the first thing I would do before even stepping into Mythic Plus dungeons is getting a Mythic Plus dungeon weak aura pack. And again, these things will actually help you learn dungeon mechanics if you're not fully familiar with them, in terms of bosses, in terms of trash packs, because they'll scream, hey, there's AoE incoming, hey, you gotta bleed, you gotta dot, you gotta do something about it. And this is going to help you with that. A lot of people know Causey's Mythic Plus dungeon pack. I think this is great. This is something that I use as well. I also think this season I've been messing around with Haratal's Season 2 dungeon pack, and I think this is also really good. And of course, you're going to copy import string, you're going to go back into the game. Back in the game, I'm already assuming you already have weak auras add-on. You can type in /WA. This is going to open up the weak auras section. You can see I already have some of these, again, add-on packs installed. I've had a couple of custom things. You can go into things, for example, like the timer text. You can check out what's there. You can see that there's sound added to these, so if you can go into these, you can go into the actions and basically change the sound notifications that you get, alter them, disable them if you don't need them, and things like that. It's highly customizable, but it's going to give you a lot of information out of the box that can help you doing these dungeons and even learning these dungeons. And another extremely important aspect of playing a healer, and this is going to be a separate section, is going to be targeted spells. So being able to tell if a party or a member in your party is going to take damage in the next couple of seconds is extremely important, to an extent that I feel like this feature should be implemented in default Blizzard's UI, because every healer needs to know this. Especially, for example, you can see here footage. There's going to be a dangerous mechanic, or a member of my party has been selected by a dangerous mechanic. There's going to be damage happening in the next couple of seconds. If I'm playing Oracle the Supreme Priest, being able to shield them is extremely important before damage happens, because that is one of the reasons why Oracle the Supreme Priest is meta. So you can see here on my frames, there's going to be a highlighted frame attached to the player that's going to take damage in the next couple of seconds, and I know that I need to focus on it. This is mandatory for every single healer, because it is so good, and there's multiple ways of achieving that. You can get that in weak aura form, or you can get that by using cell. This is one of the most popular weak auras for that. Mythic Plus targeted spells, the War Within Season 2 by Twix. You can get it here. I'm going to link everything in the description below. You can alter it, or you can use, like I mentioned, another add-on called Cell. Let's go check it out. And you might be asking yourself, why do I have 2 player nameplates in terms of pleb skills and also my Oracle the Supreme Priest? Because this is Cell and this is my Grid 2 profile. So if I'm using Grid 2 profile, I will have a weak aura, and again, this is from the previous one, I will have a weak aura for targeted spells. This is by Twix. This is the one that I linked before, but I will add a bunch of different other spells to track that I find extremely important. So if you want to modify this, you can expand this, go into party targeted spells, go into the targeted spells. You can see here, that's what is going to be shown in the middle of the screen of your, again, party frame add-on. You can go into conditions and you can add different spells here based on the spell ID that you want to track. Again, this is all up to you, whichever spells you think are important to track or important to really be aware of. If you're using another add-on called Cell, it actually has it built into the add-on itself, so you can actually open the options right here. You can go into indicators, and again, depending on which kind of layouts you have, but you can go into indicators, you can go down and you'll see targeted spells. You can enable that, and then you can see the list of all the spells that you're tracking. Sometimes it will be missing some of the important ones, so you can manually add them. You can find the spell IDs by using things like Mythic dungeon tools and things like that, or even Wowhead. But tracking spells is going to be important. And then you have an option of having a different glow type. So for example, something like pixels, so you can change the amount of lines and stuff like that, so you have a clearer idea of like, hey, this guy's about to get probably close to one shot or something close to that. You can have a better indication. Now let's have a really quick summary of simming your character. And I made multiple videos about this, but ages ago, and questionably Epic Live is going to be your go-to website for healing and finding out, again, things like improvements for your trinkets, improvements for your gear. You got some decent vault options. Which one do I pick? Questionably Epic is going to be the way to go. You have to install another add-on called Simulation Craft. in your World of Warcraft and type in SimC, this is going to bring out this kind of like, you know, text that you want to copy and paste. So Control C and then go into questionably epic website. And this is questionably epic live website right now. I'm not gonna go through the whole process here because honestly this tool deserves a video by itself. I made multiple videos about this, but this was years ago, so that's something to showcase. But at the top right hand corner, you can't really see it here because it cuts off, but there will be a section for SimC. You can Control A and Control V in terms of pasting the code that you got from your character. And the best thing about this is that it's going to show you the items that you are currently wearing, and then it'll show you the items that you have in your bags, and then you can select and compare them. And then on top of that, if you open it after you open your vault, it'll show you your vault options as well. Honestly, really great tool. But what I wanted to highlight today is the fact that they added Oracle beta version. So if you're playing Discipline Priest and you want to kind of optimize the Oracle version of playstyle, it's here instead of doing Void Weaver. And on top of that, if you're playing Misfit or Monk, it's been here like this for a while, but you can select your Monk, you can go into Top Gear or whatever. You can do that whole simulation craft string import for gear. I didn't do that, but you'll have different playstyle options right here for Yulon and Chi build. So depending on whichever build you're trying to optimize for, make sure you don't forget about the playstyle options, and questionably epic is adding them. Anytime there's a new kind of playstyle appearing, they're going to add that playstyle so you can optimize your gear better. So that's a really good option. Let's move on to some other resources. So we checked out questionably epic live in terms of trying to optimize your gear and things like that, but you should use every available resource to you, and there's no better way to optimize your characters based on gameplay gearing by also checking other players, some other top-end players. And everyone knows Warcraft logs, but not everyone is aware of the fact that they also have the dungeon segment. So you can actually go into the dungeon section. Let's say, for example, we're going to pick ranking here. Instead of points, we're going to go into healing. And again, you can check out, it's not only for healers, you can do it for any spec out there. So we're going to check out healing, and we're going to go to all the dungeons. And in this specific situation, I want to check out my Discipline Priest. I want to see what people are doing in terms of different gearing options, in terms of different talents. And you can see all the different Discipline Priests doing the dungeons here. And I like to specifically check out things like Cleft and Floodgate because those are really healing intensive, and I want to see if people are doing some crazy different builds. I like to sort out by the date and make sure that it's the latest date right now, because again, there is going to be new patches released, there is going to be new changes happening, and sometimes these builds are going to become obsolete or just less used. And for example, I'm going to check out this person right here doing Cleft 18, and I'm like, okay, this is the Discipline Priest. I can click into them, I can go into the summary section, I can then show more for the talent build that they were using, and this is a pretty normal, pretty vanilla build for Discipline Priest or Oracle Discipline Priest. And I can check out the gear in terms of the enchants. I can go up and check out how much crit, stamina, haste, mastery they had. And for example, I might go into the healing section right here, and this section right here, there's a lot of healing required here. I'm assuming this is the Candle King. So I can select the Candle King, and then I can go into the cast section, and then I can check out, okay, this is what the person was casting during this section, which is, I'm assuming, is going to be the Candle King. And you can see in terms of which person or how many flash heals, how many penances they were casting on which targets they were casting on them, and basically go through a little bit of their gameplay and try and compare and try and see and try and improve. Again, you can do that for every single healer, every single DPS, every single tank. You just need to be able to read Warcraft logs and things like that. But this is an amazing tool to see how players are optimizing their spec at the top end. If you want a lot of this information in a more condensed version, Morlock.io is becoming extremely popular. It's already very popular in the PvP scene, but I feel like in that Mythiclus scene is becoming more and more popular because, for example, you can click into the spec that you want. In my case, it's going to be the Spin Priest. At the top right hand corner, again, you can't really see this because it's cut off, there's going to be a Mythiclus section. You have a lot of PvP things, but there's going to be a Mythiclus section, which is something that I want because I'm a PvE player. Keep in mind, this is taking account of the top 50 players of a given spec. So there's a lot of things that you might have to take with a pinch of salt, grain of salt, whatever, because sometimes people are going to be experimenting with different talents. Sometimes these players might not have access to all the best loot out there. It does happen. So keep that in mind. But it does showcase things like some of the most popular stat priorities right now, or what these players are running. It does not mean that you need to have 18% haste, 27% crit, 37% mastery in order to do high keys. Absolutely not. It's just something that a lot of these players might have in terms of, again, optimizing their gear. So just, it's interesting to see what players are aiming for and things like that. It has some of the most popular talents. So in terms of the class tree, in terms of the spec tree, again, we looked at Warcraft log data as well in terms of some of the players running certain talents depending on the keys or high keys. So you can see, again, sometimes people like to experiment with different things. Don't take this as gospel. Outside of that, you'll have best in slot gear. You'll see what a lot of these players are using in all the gear slots, in terms of crafted gear, in terms of some of the embellishments, in terms of some of the popular trinkets. Again, we talked about embellishments and what a lot of players are running in terms of enchant. You also have to remember that this is looking at the top highest players in the world. If you're trying to do your plus 10 key, don't sweat too much about this. Don't worry about like, oh, I have to get this, I have to get this amount of stat priorities, I have to get all of this gear in the exact way that every player is getting this. Use this as a way of trying to see what players are doing in terms of to see where their meta is heading and things like that. But this is basically a set of tools that I use almost every single day in terms of trying to optimize all my characters for Mythic Plus pushing. As you know, I have a bunch of characters and trying to stay up to date with all of them in terms of the latest gearing options and all those things can be a little bit daunting, so these tools can really help out. We talked about some of the mandatory weak wars or mandatory aspects of the game in terms of targeted spells for healers. I think is absolutely insanely needed in order to optimize your healers depending on which healers you're also playing as well. Again, there's a lot of different things that you can improve when playing Mythic Plus as a healer, and I hope this video helped. If you have some resources that you think are hidden gems, resources that you use every day that you find very interesting, very good, please link them in the comments below. I really want to make like a list of things or list of resources that are amazing for new players coming into World of Warcraft, because we're fully aware of the fact that this game for new players is extremely daunting. Let's help with that experience. And if you like this video, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next guide.